Square saying Zimbabwe, welcome to our channel, Zoom Confessions and Deep Secrets. Kana karike kutanga kukuya paneno channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. Kana uchingwa garoka subscriber. Don't forget to comment and share this video. That's Zimbabwe takwigira inyaya muri tswana these news hawks. The news hawks yo yabuda. Chitaura pa msoro pa president wa Zambia va akainde YeSADC yenetsa attendance yavo to the Southern African Development Community Summit iri kuitirwa mu Harare apasi kuzikana kunzi WaHichilema vari kuuya here kana kuti. So the news hawks yabuda ichitaura iyo ichi the spokesperson WaHichilema and anezva akavaudza pamusoro pe-attendance yaWaHichilema muri Zimbabwe vabuda on their X handle. The news hawks vachitaura vachiti #SADC Summit and YeSADC. And the Zambian President akainde YeSADC's attendance to the Southern African Development Community SADC Summit in Harare tomorrow remains touch and go on the 11th hour. The State House spokesperson says he will only confirm his position today. Amid speculations over the past few weeks and later days that YeSADC will not attend the summit, the news hawks on Wednesday contacted Clayson Hamasaka, the State House spokesperson, on the issue. Hamasaka said, "Why do you want to know if you will attend? Are you also calling and asking if all other heads of state and government are attending?" Given the context of the question, which included the current underlying diplomatic tensions between Zimbabwe and Zambia, and initial omission of YeSADC from the SADC leaders' portraits displayed on Airport Road in Harare, Hamasaka said, "That's not really important on this issue. What's important is that Zambia will be represented at the SADC summit in Harare, whether at presidential or ministerial level. Zambia is a member state of SADC and it will be represented at the summit." Pressed to answer directly whether or not YeSADC was attending, Hamasaka said, "Okay, I will get back to you on that one. I will let you know on Friday." Prior to that, a Zambian political activist, Joseph Kalimbwe, who is pro-YeSADC, had tweeted, "I can confirm one Southern African president will not be attending any summits this weekend." This came against a backdrop of swirling speculation that YeSADC will not attend the SADC summit in Harare, which will escalate tensions between Zimbabwe and Zambia. This comes as Zimbabwe and Zambia are trying to fix strained diplomatic relations to avoid a showdown in front of regional leaders, which might have far-reaching consequences for sub-regional stability. Informed diplomatic sources tell the news hawks Presidential Emmerson Mnangagwa and YeSADC have been using various channels of diplomatic engagements to resolve their dispute emanating from last year's flawed and disputed elections in Zimbabwe. Former Zambian Vice President Enoch Kevin Kavindile is the key mediator between the two leaders and their countries. Kavindile, a prominent Zambian business person and former minister, was in Harare on 30 July for a meeting with Mnangagwa at State House to lobby Zimbabwe's support for a Zambian candidate to become African Development Bank president next year and resolve the diplomatic spat. Zambia's candidate, Dr. Samuel Munzele Maimbo, is contesting for the African Development Bank top post in next year's election and needs solid regional support to win. More than 5 candidates from different African countries are running for the position. Kavindile's role is critical, and he got off to a good start in a solid, friendly and diplomatic engagement. After meeting Mnangagwa, Kavindile told state media journalists, "Firstly, I have come to see my brother, and secondly, to wish him and the people of Zimbabwe the best when they take over the chairmanship of SADC and to seek my elder brother's support and that of Zimbabweans. We have a candidate we are trying to sell to the region who wants to become a president of the African Development Bank. This man works at the World Bank as the vice president there, but he wants now to come and be in Africa with us. So we say, well, we will go to a senior man, President Mnangagwa, across the Zambezi and tell him. So we haven't gone anywhere else at all. We are here to seek support. President Mnangagwa has assured us of his support for our candidate. Mnangagwa, who grew up in Zambia, and Kavindele are long-time friends, having worked together in the United National Independence Party under founding leader Kenneth Kaunda as youths during Zimbabwe's early liberation struggle days. Mnangagwa, who is to all intents and supports also Zambian, knows many old Zambian politicians and power brokers. Confirming this with reference to Kavindele, Mnangagwa said, "We came from afar together in the United National Independence Party and in Zambia with the former Zambian Vice President Kavindele. I'm seeing my brother here. I assured them of our full support for their candidate." Kavindele served in various positions within the Zambian government from 1986 to 2006. These included Minister of Health, Minister of Science, Technology and Vocational Training, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, and later Vice President. Besides, Kavindele is also married to a Zimbabwean, making him more suitable to mediate in the protracted dispute centering on Zimbabwe's flawed and disputed elections last year in August, and NaHichilema's links with opposition CCC, then led by Nelson Chamisa. To make matters worse, Mnangagwa is close to NaHichilema's main political rival, former Zambian President Edgar Lungu, who was defeated in the August 21 presidential elections, but wants to bounce back with Harare's backing in 2026. NaHichilema is chairperson of the Sadc Troika, of the organ on politics, defense and security, dispatched former Zambian Vice President Nevis Mumba as head of the regional body's election observer mission to Harare. NaHichilema also sent Kavindele to observe elections in Eswatini. The Zimbabwe Observer Mission came up with a report which found the elections did not comply with the country's constitution and laws, as well as the SADC principles and guidelines governing democratic elections. This sparked a fierce public row between Zambian and Zimbabwean officials, straining relations. NaHichilema insisted on upholding the report, which was adopted in the two post-election crucial meetings, including an extraordinary SADC summit in Zambia and Angola. The report remains on the table, and Mnangagwa is seeking to revise or reverse it during the SADC Harare summit. Mnangagwa has invested a lot in the summit in diplomatic terms and in its optic by upgrading roads, conference facilities, Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport, hotels, and building villas to impress his guests, from whom he badly needs support to sanitize his re-election fiasco. The reapproachment was meant to also ensure NaHichilema attends the SADC summit for legitimacy. Although Mnangagwa and NaHichilema met in Livingstone, Zambia on 31 May for the 2024 Kavango Zambezi Transfrontier Conservation Area Heads of State and Government Summit, NaHichilema did not attend the tripartite Zimbabwe, Mozambique and Zambia Transfrontier Conservation Area Summit in Harare on 18 July. NaHichilema was represented by Zambian Minister of Tourism Rodney Sekumba. Before the current diplomatic engagement, relations between Zimbabwe and Zambia, which have close historical ties as they were once one country during the 1953 to 63 Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland, plunged to their lowest ebb. This followed Mnangagwa's remarks to Russian President Putin during the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum on 5 June that Zambia now has close ties with the United States and that was isolating Zimbabwe in the region. Mnangagwa suggested that Zambia was now a satellite state for America, referencing his links with the U.S. Africa Command military, which has an office in Lusaka, as destabilizing. Although Zimbabwean claims the U.S. had a base in Zambia, the Americans have dismissed this as a lie. Mnangagwa's remarks angered Zambians, with Foreign Minister Mulambo Aimbe describing his statements as an unwarranted attack on Zambian sovereignty. Zambia said it had engaged SADC and African Union to resolve the problem. Mnangagwa had raised the issue triggered by the disputed elections in a bid to draw in Putin on his side and capitalize on the current geopolitical contestation between Washington and Moscow for his own political benefit. However, the American dismissed the AFRICOM story as untrue during the African Chiefs of Defense conference in Gaborone, Botswana. Ironically, AFRICOM has close relations with Botswana, led by President Masisi, a Mnangagwa ally. AFRICOM has donated a military cargo plane to Botswana, and they will be doing joint military exercises soon, just across the western border. Kavindele has a major task to ensure that the situation does not escalate and deteriorate into a conflict in Africa's sub-regional bastion of stability. However, if WaHichilema does not attend tomorrow's summit, Zimbabwe and Zambia's diplomatic relations will plunge into a new law fueling the conflict. Tingaziye kuti muona sei nyaya yaburitswa the newsbox iyi zvakare zvokunzi Cyril Ramaphosa is talking to WaHichilema kuti awanikwe achiatenda this Sadc summit. Tisingazive kuti muona sei nyaya itudziwo zvamuri kufunga pamusoro penyaya iyi mu comment section.